Duval.
Oh, shout out to the Jaguars. And you know what? We do that to highlight this, man. It matters. It matters the level of person that's taking over your organization. I want to know that that person is in that locker room, being able to serve and hold weight just like Dan Campbell. You talk about first press conferences. Let's see if people are going to take that first press conference by the Jags and start to slice that up and diss that into oblivion. I still don't hear enough people say I'm sorry to Dan Campbell. I don't.
That's fair.
I don't, man.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what. How do you think Trevor Lawrence? What do you think he thought when he saw that?
He went from we might get Ben Johnson to Duval.
Right.
Like, oh boy, that still makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable for you, brother.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It's
Let's get the legend Rod Beard.
Notice will be more aura, Rod Beard.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's get it going, boy. Hey, yo. Shout out and welcome to the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard, brother. As always, it's great to have you on the show. We will get the video stuff figured out, but glad to have you on the Feldman Open Lines. What up, though, Rod Beard?
What up, though, man? I'll start with the Lions stuff. And with John Morton, he doesn't hold the only set of keys. When you buy a car, you got two sets of keys. Dan Campbell has on a headset. He can say, hey, we're running the ball here. We're going for it on fourth down here. People, don't forget, Ben Johnson is not the cat that was saying we're going for it on fourth down or we're calling this play. He ran the offense, but he didn't conceive the offense, and that's the big difference here. That John Morton is just going to be a guy who does it, but he is not the engine that drives that offense.
Yeah, definitely, and that was kind of the notion that we were trying to convey as well, is that Dan Campbell is that guy. Rod, you were really the first person who I heard put that on wax within media, and since that time, I think you said it either last week or the week before, since that time, I've seen that narrative just explode across social media. I know he was called effectively to innovate on top of the foundational offense that has been is Dan Campbell's. That this is something that goes back to more or less Sean Payton, and that it's interesting now to see a lot of other people now starting to tip the cap, because for most of the season, I started to hear people say things like, well, Dan Campbell not calling the plays. What type of coach is he? We're gonna learn now from other little chirpers. So it's cool to see a lot of people who are actually ball knowers and locked in are actually giving Dan Campbell his props for being a really good coach and not just a rah-rah guy. But Rod, any other comments on the Lions before we get into Rod's thoughts on the Pistons at the halfway mark, just beyond it? I gotta have your take on the Pistons at the halfway mark effectively.
They're far away more than we thought that they would be, that they are contending for this 6-8, and it's day by day. They go from the 6 spot, 8 spot, whatever it is. But again, they are holding their water. That is what is important here. That when was the last time you had a 3-game losing streak, a 4-game losing streak? You don't see that. They are doing what they need to do to stay in contention, and that is growth. That's the biggest piece of this season, is that you don't have the bottom falling out and you don't have these lulls like you did last year.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, mate, Rod, they just put some type of music on over in Lady Jane's or something, man. It's like the mood is just it's just set right now. But yeah, Rod, when I look at this Detroit Pistons team, obviously I know us on this platform with the Woodward Pistons podcast for the last 3 years, we've always said, hey, at that 30-game mark, we're going to assess what this team is. And at that 30-game mark, we knew this is a play-in team. A lot of us called for that before the season, no matter what we thought the win totals would be. But this is approaching the scenario where we said if everything goes right, you know what, go ahead and snag that 6th seed. And they're saying this. Malik Beasley had a pretty in-depth interview, and I know Hoops Hype was able to put that out as well. So shout out to them, where he talked about, listen, we want the playoffs. He said he wanted Detroit. He knows what the city is. He could see something here before he got here. He said he's not trying to waste his career. So this wasn't just just because it's Detroit and he has connections here, or just because I have an opportunity to get, more attempts to be able to run up his value. He's like, Detroit's where he wants to be. Trajan Langdon and him have already started those types of discussions on what it would look like. But ultimately, it was about that grit and that grind, and that he said this team wanting to make the playoffs, this organization wanting to make the playoffs. He said those things really, really mattered to him. And I think overall, that's something that we see this squad going after. Even Cade Cunningham. So as we see her at the halfway mark, it's almost like you have to redo these expectations. We talked about can they be better than 5 teams? And we said, it's going to be, we think that Campbell is going to be tough. Now you're looking at some of those other teams where you talk about 6 or 7 teams in total. All these guys are in dysfunction, man. Whether it's injuries, whether it's trades, they're in dysfunction, while the Detroit Pistons, they're not perfect. But we see them, even despite some of their dysfunction and the injury to Jaden Ivey, being able to play really above expectations to the point that they're setting new ones now.
But Kool-Aid, free agents don't want to come here. Yeah. Right. Free agents don't want to come here. Remember that?
Yep.
You can't get free agents to come to Detroit. Not a good one. Malik Beasley is good. He could be on that list of 6 man of the year. Tobias Harris, you can't get him to want to come here. Tim Hardaway, they're not coming here. It's not high-level elite free agents, but you have something to build on, and those 3 guys have been an integral part of the improvement this year, along with Cade, obviously, and Isaiah Stewart, a couple other guys. But it is certainly, and everything has not gone right. Jaden Ivey is done for presumably the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So they've still persevered through all of these difficulties and through what we said the chemistry was the most important thing, and they've kind of figured a lot of that stuff out, that Malik Beasley is that guy. You don't have to start him in order for him to be effective. You lost Asar Thompson for a good part of the beginning of the year where he wasn't quite ready to come back. Now he's come back and he's joined the starting lineup. Simone Fontecchio, not quite what you thought when you re-signed him, but all of this stuff is kind of coming together and working. You give all the credit in the world to Trajan Langdon and the J.B. Bickerstaff for making this thing work and making this a cohesive unit.
Hey, you know what, Rod? You're preaching over there, man, right now. And you know what? We also got Rob Murphy in the building. He's gonna take part in our Swish or Brick, our Swish or Break segment. But I know Flannel Sam, you got a comment as well before we get into that.
I was just going to say, with the fact that they're on this road trip and they haven't looked so good in the last couple of games, I think you could chalk some of that up to playing a Cleveland team that was due. What's your level of concern for the Pistons in terms of potentially not making the play-in at this point?
Low level of concern, because if you look at their strength of schedule, now on this road trip, they're finishing up with some of their harder teams that they played at Orlando, they played at Cleveland. You weren't going into Cleveland and winning that. I mean, that's as well as Cleveland has played and knocking off and playing some tough games against some of the top teams in the league. You weren't going in there and getting that, but you played them tough. And that, again, you have not seen the 30-point, 40-point loss that you did last year. That's the progress that they've made that I think is encouraging for fans, is that all of these games have been watchable. There haven't been ones where you turned it off in the first quarter or the second quarter and just felt like they didn't have a shot.
Yep. And that's the thing, too. That Cleveland game, that was the recipe for disaster for the Pistons, because Cleveland was also on a 3-game losing streak. Had just kind of lost the number 1 seed in the East. And everything was set up for them to go out there and win. And you could tell. At home, they were comfortable. They played Donovan Mitchell. Their stars played very efficient, though the team didn't shoot the best. But there were still some good things about Detroit. What I'm looking at with this team right now is their resiliency, their ability to bounce back. We talked about with the Lions, are they going to lose back-to-back games? They just don't. With the Pistons, after you lose a game or two, you said it best, Rod, are they a team that can bounce back and show some character? And after each time they've lost a game or two here and there, they've actually gone on to make a run right after that and move up the standings even more. We're talking about a team right now that, like you said, has continued to kind of flutter between 6th and 8th seed. They had an opportunity to get to 5th seed if they would have won these last couple games. But these are the ones that J.B. Bickerstaff said that they are learning from right now. And these are pressure-packed. As they learn through these and they continue to win, they give themselves more than an opportunity to just be kind of first-round sacrifice, but they give themselves an opportunity to go in there and really have a chance to win some games. And I do think it comes down to some consistency as well as some of the things that we're going to talk about in our Swish or Brick segment today. You ready to jump into that, Rob Beard?
Swish or break time.
Swish or break time. KG.
Yes,
DJ
sir.
KG. Let's get the music going, man.
I got you. Y'all know what this is. Swish or brick.
Hey, just real quick, because we do got Rob Murphy in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I just want to make sure that before we jump into that, you guys did see him on Big D Energy, as well as some of the reporting work and broadcasting work that he's doing right now. I'll let him just real quick. Hey, Rob, man, you over there, brother? Tell the people a little bit, man, about what you're doing right now. But obviously, coach, scout, GM. Hey, my first year when I was covering Motor City Cruise, I saw this face a lot. Helped make that first year for me just a little bit easier with somebody like him that was in the building. So what up, though, Rob Murphy?
What's up, B? Thanks for having me. I enjoy listening to you guys. Right now, I'm doing a little bit of TV, enjoying the color commentating on ESPN Plus, covering the Big Ten and MAC basketball for some professional teams as well.
Nice.
And just enjoying my time right now, figuring out, my next steps if I want to get back into the college game, if I want to stay at the professional level, or if I want to jump full-fledged into TV. But more importantly, I'm enjoying life right now, and things are well.
Hey, things are well. Hey, it's good to have you in the building again. Let's jump into the Swisher break, man.
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
interested because these are ones that I really think we're going to need Rob Beard's perspective on.
No, absolutely. And the first statement in Swisher Brick or Swisher Break, whatever your preference, and we, for the third or fourth time, we going to make this statement. Malik Beasley needs to be starting Swish or Brick.
Oh my God.
I'm not. Listen, I know that I'm supposed to
Flannel,
give.
okay.
I know I'm supposed to give a confirming statement. The statement is that. Just read it again.
But Malik Beasley needs, all
That's
caps,
the supporting
needs
evidence.
to be starting.
That's it. Flannel Sam.
As much as everybody likes this question, I dislike it. With all due respect, KG, that's why yes, take Tim Hardaway Jr. out. Fine. I throw my hands up. I don't care.
Hey.
Sorry, that's not something I feel that strong about. Let me just be real. If you need to take Tim Hardaway Jr. out and put Malik Beasley in, fine. Whatever.
Rob Murphy, what do you think, man? Hey, Malik Beasley's been on some heaters. The chemistry that he has with Cade, but some people believe you leave that bench a little desolate. But you're a coach, man. You're the coach of the squad right now. Talk to me about it.
Me personally, I would leave him where he is on coming off the bench. You need a scoring punch in that second unit.
Yes.
You can always stagger the minutes and play him more minutes and kind of mix and match it during the game. But I think to start the game, you keep your 5 now, and wherever he's needed to be plugged into, Coach Bickerstaff has the ability to do that.
Hey, let's rock. JB Smooth.
Against my best wishes, I want to say yes, but I kind of got to agree with Rob. Like, hey, stagger those minutes, keep them off the bench. You need that spark plug. So, no disrespect. Don't start them, but yet still.
I don't think it's any disrespect. They have no choice but to keep letting him come off the bench. Unfortunately, that's just the position that he's in, because if he wasn't on your bench, then it would look very, very bad for what the Pistons got cooking right now. You're not getting enough from Simone Fontecchio. Marcus Sasser is solid, but do you want him to carry the entire second unit? I don't think so. So, no, he needs to start. I mean, he needs to be on the bench. He's doing a good job at that. So.
Yeah, and I see the chat here before we kick it over to Rod Beard, the legend. Troy Lamar, he says Brick. Chuck Brewer Brick. ADIS 401, he says bounce. Is that a bounce in or a bounce out? Then we got some swishes from the Real K77 and a couple other people here in the chat as well. But Jonathan Laura says in and out for him. And for me, I wonder how much this changes if you're getting a little bit more out of guys like Marcus Sasser and Simone Fontecchio. But Rod Beard, what say ye? This question has popped up now for the third time, and you got to
seems like the 8th time.
What up, though, Rod?
This is a brick. This is why are we doing this? Why? Who wrote this question? Let's go back to that. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
I'll take that. Hey, let's get into the next one.
Yeah,
Rod, speaking my language right now. Love you, KG. Just that question. It's giving me like a visceral react. Oh,
that's
Kool-Aid.
Because for me personally, I'll be for real with you. I do believe that sometimes you switch things up just a little bit. And I do believe that running potency next to Cade Cunningham out the gate, I like that sometimes. Some of the games that the Pistons have lost has been because they just haven't gotten out the gate fast enough. And when you see Cade Cunningham trying to catch a rhythm, sometimes those types of players get into a rhythm when the offense is moving.
No, true.
Then it puts a lot of pressure on him to have to then go out there and be Mr. 35 points a game, and people start saying, well, he getting turnovers, he getting this, he getting that. Wouldn't it be easier to have people that you know, I can depend on these guys with me to start the game? That's a little bit of where it goes.
I can agree with that, but I think the key thing with Beasley is that they play him in fourth quarters. And a lot of times when the Pistons need, buckets late in the game, they do turn to Malik Beasley. So he's finding the role that he's in right now, because you need him on your bench. If not, you don't have a bench.
And that's the caveat there. If
Sasser
Sasser and Fontecchio were probably stepping up a little bit more, you probably can entertain that.
Yeah.
But
number two.
I think it has something to do with that.
Yeah, a little bit. It was once Jalen Duren. Now it is Simone Fontecchio. Who's the most important Piston to you that needs to step up?
And Chase, I look at you as well, because I think that there's another name that people instantly talk about.
Yeah.
But I do know that Simone Fontecchio, he got a little bit of that contract. You talk about what we expected out of him. Coming from last year where he was shooting well, moving well, contributing well, and you guys are talking about the importance of what that bench is or is not. And when I look at that bench, I'm looking at Simone Fontecchio as the guy that needs to step up the most. But overall, it's about the Pistons. What about you, Flannel Sam?
Simone Fontecchio, and it's just because of how much I fell in love with his game last year. It gave me hope in dark times at the end of such a miserable season, seeing Cade and Simone Fontecchio work so well together, and Fontecchio take his game to a level that I didn't even know he had. This year, though, just incredibly inconsistent, hasn't really been able to get his shot going at all. Just pretty much a relative non-factor on the bench, and it's been, to me, one of the more disappointing happenings of this season.
You guys can probably guess who's overrunning the chat right now, but hey, but Rob Murphy, what say ye, man? The most important Piston needs to step up right now. We've seen Jalen Duren take that leap over the last month. Is it Simone Fontecchio or is it somebody else? Because right now Tobias Harris is a name that is sweeping the chat as the Piston that people believe needs to step up.
Yeah, I think there's a committee. They all need to step up. But I would, if you had to choose one, I would go with Jalen Duren. He's a huge part of the future. He's actually not rebounding at a high level. He has to rebound a little bit better. He could be a better rim protector.
Yeah.
And he needs to close out and hedge ball screens. And then like a game like tonight, he has to step out and guard Miles Turner as well, because he'll be shooting those threes. So I would say Jalen Duren, because he's most important.
You're right.
And he's a huge part of the future as well. And he's dependent on, and he's a starter. So I think if he plays more significant minutes and dominates the paint, protects the paint, finishes in the paint, I think that'll be a huge asset for the Pistons as they continue to move forward.
I mean, we saw Jalen Duren improve, and you know what? Somebody who was really there at the scene is saying, nah, there's more to go. Hey, JB Smooth, what say you?
I mean, come on, the chat just said it for me already. It's Tobias Harris. Either step up or step off, man. I'm sick of this.
Hey, KG.
I think it's Simone Fontecchio, because Duren has made some improvements. I do agree with what you said, Rob, but over the last, I would say, 15 to 20 games, we've seen a little bit better of a Jalen Duren. But Simone Fontecchio, and once again, if you don't have Malik Beasley cooking from three off of that bench, who else are you turning to? I feel like if you were to get more out of him, that would take a lot more pressure off of a Cade Cunningham. You can, leave him on the bench for longer, bring his usage rate down. But he has just not been able to find his shot at all. And you can tell, like, his confidence is just not what it used to be. You can almost see it in his body language at times, and I'm just not liking what he's been able to do on the second
After Rod
unit.
gives his answer, there is a little tidbit of news that I want to be able to add contextually for this one as well. But Rod, what say ye? Is it Simone Fontecchio or someone else?
It is someone else, and it scares me that the chat is agreeing with me, or I agree with the chat either way, but it's Tobias. I think he will take some of the pressure off the rest.
Yes. Chase, you got a Tobias from Rod.
He will take some of the pressure off the starters. He will propel them into that playoff stratosphere if they're going to get there. And it's just important for him to be at that level. If he can get up to 18, 20 points a game, then you're talking about a different team from that starting level and then finishing games too.
Yeah, and I see you, QT, in the chat. You were alluding to some part of the news I was going to share as well. During the offseason, he says Fontecchio doesn't look near as athletic as last season or as quick, especially on defense. Sometimes he's looking less than he was last year. He was serviceable last year. But he says this, lingering injury. He did have foot surgery in the offseason. And shout out to Anthony Colombo via Pistons Talk as well. He's still dealing with that. There's still some after effects, and he's trying to get up to speed with that. That may play some role, and may not. But I am hearing that it's something that has bothered him up to this point. And he's had some games here and there where we're starting to see a little bit better consistency. Hopefully with the All-Star break, when that body's able to kind of heal up, get a little bit of rest, that after the All-Star break, we see a little bit different Simone Fontecchio. But should we take a quick one and then come back, or do you want him to go into question 3 because there's several names on here, and we'll go quickly, Swish or Brick on the names, and we'll let Rod and Rob be the ones to expand.
Let's keep on going.
Let's rock.
Let's keep going. I do have one to interject in between that, and it kind of leads into the last one.
Let's go. Hey, Rod Beard, do you have you got a few more minutes?
And if we go quick, I can do it.
Let's rock.
Let's go quick.
All right, so number 3, the Pistons need a forward more than they need another guard. Swish or Brick?
Oh. You know what? Now I'm gonna make the confirming statement for it. I think differently, but
I know you do. That's why I asked.
Yeah. But you heard some of the things that Rob Murphy was talking about as it relates to what you want to see with Jalen Duren stepping up. And in the games that we see the Pistons winning and controlling things and the defense efficiency is high is when we see Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart at their best. But you do need more. They need a little bit more size. They need somebody who it's easy for them to rebound, and not Isaiah Stewart, who he does a heck of a job at it, but it takes everything that he has to be that guy that's blocking the shots at the rim, rebounding, guarding and switching all over the place. I believe if you have one more player, that makes a difference. What say ye, Flannel Sam?
I'm going to go Brick. I think you need a backup point guard a little bit more, and I think that was exacerbated by Jaden Ivey's injury.
Yeah, Rod Murphy.
Yeah, I agree with Flannel. Is it Flannel Sam? What,
yes.
I kind of like that Kool-Aid, the Flannel Sam. But
yeah,
for me, I would agree that they need a point guard. Obviously, if Jaden Ivey was here, my answer would be different. But it's really tough when you don't have a secondary ball handler or someone who can initiate your offense like Cade does. And, Sasser has tried to do that, but I think he's more of a combo guard or scoring guard. But they need someone with the mentality of getting others involved and still have the ability to score. So I would go with a backup point guard or another ball handler.
Yes, backup facilitator, man. JB Smooth.
We've been saying this all the time. This is Brick for me. We need a guard, and we need one ASAP. So somebody do something.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't have Chase on because I know what his answer would be. Yeah. But this is a Brick for me. I think we need a backup facilitator in the worst way. So.
Yeah. Hey, Rod Beard, what say ye?
I'm going to agree with the coach and the front office guy. Rob Murphy knows a lot more basketball than I do. He sees the need for a facilitator and a backup point guard. I agree completely.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Rob Murphy. Rod said he's going to go with the coach and the former exec. He says that just spot on with your assessment on that question. And you know what? With this next one, we will all give our swish or our breaks. We'll allow Rob Murphy and Rod Beard to be able to expand on it. But there are just some quick, it's a list of names we'll go through as it relates to trade deadline targets.
All right.
Hey, let's go, KG.
All right, here we go. The first one, Colin Sexton, swish or brick?
I want to say swish, but I got to say brick.
Okay. I'm going to go swish. Underrated efficiency.
I like him. I think Danny Ainge is going to smack us. That's my only reason.
I get it.
Hey, what say ye, Rob Murphy? Colin Sexton.
I like Colin Sexton if we can get him. It's all about chemistry, though, when you're either trading or signing a guy. With Jaden Ivey coming back with a full recovery with him and Cade as your backcourt, I'm not sure if Colin Sexton is the guy to come in as a backup and play that role, being that his aggressiveness is in what he wants to be as a player. So I would pass on Sexton for the future of the Detroit Pistons.
JB Smooth.
I'm going to go swish as long as the deal and the money's right.
Hey, yeah, I'm glad Rob said that because that's what I worry about, the Ivy factor. But for the player, the player, I say swish because he's the type of scorer K needs next to him.
Hey, what up, though, Rod Beard? What say you, Colin Sexton?
Brick. I'm not trading with Danny Ainge ever. Can't do it.
I feel you on that.
That's fair.
All right, next name, Lonzo Ball, swish or brick?
You already know, swish. That's my deliberation.
Swish, as good of a facilitator as you're going to find, at least at this stage.
I'm interested in this one, Rob Murphy. What up, though?
A swish for me. I mean, again, I keep bringing Jaden Ivey into the fold, and if he comes back fully healthy, if Lonzo Ball would be perfect. Coming off the bench, he has size for the position. He's a good defender. Has an ability to score, but more importantly, he can get others involved on that second unit and be a great player for the Detroit Pistons now and into the future.
JB Smooth.
A nervous swish.
But nervous swish. Nah, this is definitely a swish. It's no risk, really. You probably get draft capital for taking them, so swish.
Hey, Rod Beard.
This is a bank-in swish. I need to look at these X-rays and make sure that his health is good. But otherwise, yes.
Hey, let's rock, KG.
All right.
We got a couple more names. We'll save the others for next week.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna skip to some particular names on this list. CJ McCollum, swish or brick?
I'm going to go brick. Oh, yeah. Flannel Sam?
Swish. He's too good. I hate to be that simplistic, but like surface level, I would say swish.
Hey, Rod Murphy. What up, though, Rod Murphy?
Yeah, I would go swish with this. At this stage of his career, being a veteran in the locker room, a really good guy who's shown he can be a leader, has the ability to score, would probably accept coming off the bench and allowing Cade and Ivy to continue to grow. If you can get a guy like that for the right price, that's an automatic swish for me.
You know, that definitely convinces me, actually. If you can convince if he's that type of guy, then I'm just like, you know what, dope. JB Smooth.
I mean, this is easy. Swish. I got to agree with Flannel. He's just too good.
Yeah, me and Rod Murphy on the same accord. Yes, he's a scorer that you can allow to be on your bench, and it doesn't interfere with what Cade and Ivy got going on.
Hey, Rod Beard.
Chemistry-wise, he fits. That contract scares me if you can get the right price. Again, you agree with Rob Murphy on this. He knows his basketball.
Or brick.
If this was last year, I would have definitely ran to the table and said, pick. This year, the mojo's different. We see this team already as a top 6 team. Oh, goodness gracious. And that contract is just too weird for me to say, to take a swing on. Goodness, man. I feel dirty saying this. I'm going to have to say
Say it.
I got it.
Say it.
You know what? Swish, man. Swish on Zack LaVine.
Here you go.
Swish on Zack LaVine. Let's go, man. That man is putting up a tear right now. Do y'all see what he is doing right now? My philosophy on having him with the Cade Cunningham has not changed from last year to 2 years before, but goodness, it's that contract that scares me. That makes me want to say brick.
Oh. Swish.
Let's go. Join me in the
He's having an all-star season. He has no place in Chicago right now. They're a dumpster fire. I know he cost a lot, but I would crucify me for this all you want. If you give me Zack LaVine, I wouldn't cry at letting Ivy walk.
Oh. Chase looked up so quick. Rob Murphy, I need your take on this one, bro.
Yeah, I would say swish. If you can get a backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Zack LaVine, that's kind of hard to pass up. I wouldn't give up Ivy for him, but if you can also play Cade, Ivy, and Zack LaVine on the floor at the same time.
That would be what I would want, though.
Yeah, you're really good with that athleticism and that type of dynamic scoring in your backcourt and ability to make shots from the outside. You'll probably have the best backcourt and trio on the floor in the East for sure moving forward if you can get your hands on him and not give up too much.
Rod, this sounds like one of our episodes from last year.
Can I clarify before we go to JB Smooth? If you can have all 3 of them, I would be ecstatic. It's just with his contract, I'm saying I would. Yeah. I know people are going to cut this up and be like, Flannel wants to trade Jaden Ivey. Flannel hates Jaden Ivey. I know it's coming, but it's not true.
JB Smooth, what up, though?
This is one of the guys that I really wanted, but if this was last year, this would be 100% swish, but I'm going with brick on this one. I don't like the contract, so that's just me.
Whew. It almost got me to say brick, but I couldn't pass up. It's a swish. What up, though, KG?
Although this is something I feel they should have did in the previous offseason or maybe re-explore this offseason, I got to say swish just for the player and the fit. That would be prolific if you can get a Zack LaVine and Cade Cunningham on the same.
We've talked about it a lot on this show. And on Woodward Pistons. Rod Beard, what say ye?
Run back the tapes. We've been saying this for a couple of years now. This is a swish. The contract is scary, but now the price is going up because he's shown that he can play at an all-star level. Yeah. You should have bought low on this, and you'd be in heaven right now because if you're talking about Tim Hardaway isn't working in that spot, just insert Zack LaVine in that spot and see where you would be.
Yo, that's a bar. Bar King?
Confirm.
Rod Beard, man, I know you gave us some overtime today. I appreciate your time, bro. Any last words before we wrap this?
Hey, I appreciate Rob Murphy, man. I've been covering Rob Murphy since he was coaching in high school, and that man knows a ton of basketball stuff. So props to him.
It definitely, Rod. Well, I'm gonna reach out to you, man. We got some stuff in the works, man. Some stuff in the works. So I'm gonna reach out to you. Thank you, Rod, as always, for your time, man. Thank you. Rob Murphy, Rob Beard was just giving you props, man. Because he doesn't have the headphones on. I know he's going to look at this later, but he was just giving you props for who you've been as a coach in this state and collegiately, and just how you are able to affect even on the NBA level. Your conversations and relationships with scouts across the league, as well as right here at home. So he was giving you your flowers, man. It's something we like to do on this show.
I appreciate that, Rob. Rob's a great man. So I need to connect with him pretty soon as well. But thank you, Rod. I couldn't hear you, but I know you, with your experience, all your takes are great. And I look forward to maybe getting together and working with you in the future as well, now that I'm on this side of things. If I continue to go, I would love to get with you and Kool-Aid and continue to build something special right here in the Motor City.
Yes.
Oh, that's the word. That's happening. That's happening. Let's get to this next segment. Rob
thanks,
Beard,
Rod.
Sports Editor-in-Chief from the Detroit News. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the overtime.
Thanks, Rod.
All right, guys, have a good show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you know what? Let me tell you guys about do we got to talk about jars, huh?
No, we already did.
So Sabbath Coffee then.
Yep.
The ultimate wake and bake combo, okay? Fuel your Lions and Detroit sports fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for